Hello and welcome to the F1 Sim Racing World Championships. Welcome to event 9. It is nearly time to go racing. Thomas Ronhart lines up in pole position and will be hoping that he can convert that to victory, but it is not going to be easy because this is a circuit that always delivers action. Let's get into it.
Who is more likely to neglect to practice before a big race?
Yeah. You're most experienced and you're like, don't need that much anymore.
He's too quick.
He has been there so many times.
To drive with a damaged front wing and still finish strong?
I think it's usually I'm the one that sends it from 6 steps back, so I'd say me.
I'd say you. Yeah. I think you're screaming too much.
I think, yeah.
I think you lose your mind too quick.
You lose your mind.
And I'm finished. Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough.
To try an impossible overtake?
Oh, absolutely me. Not me.
Yeah, we've seen you do it.
Absolutely.
We've seen you do it a couple of times.
Have the best reaction time at the start?
I feel like I have pretty good starts as well.
I would say you. You always have good starts.
I mean, I've trained reaction time before.
Those light buttons and those things.
My peak reaction time was 2:00.
So good.
It's fast.
Which is F1 level. Just flexing here.
Sleep in on a race day?
Yeah, that should probably be me as well. I don't have the best sleep schedule when it comes down to practice.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
To dominate in the rain?
This man's confident.
Yeah, I'm confident as well. I'm fast enough.
All right. That's a good one then.
Blame lag for a mistake?
It's never the driver. It's never the driver. Yeah, it's never blame yourself. It's always something else.
Celebrate a win the loudest?
Guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Well, welcome, of course. We're here for round 10 and we are going to Brazil. We're going to talk Aston Martin for a moment there. You heard from the 3 drivers having a lovely time, but now let's hear from the team manager, Miguel. Miguel, thank you so much for joining us on the sofa. Your drivers were having a bit of fun there, weren't they?
Yeah. I can see that all of them like to pick themselves as being the favorite for the wet or for any other scenario. So it's quite fun.
Yeah, I quite like that. I enjoyed that anything that was good, all 3 of them thought it was themselves. Anything that was bad, one got it. Let's talk then about your 3 drivers. One that is a big standout, of course, coming to join Aston Martin this season has been Otis Lawrence, and he has really lit up the timings, hasn't he, in terms of his performance, in terms of his determination. Just talk me through what he's been like this season.
So, I mean, for such a young guy, he's been amazing. We knew before we signed him on that he was going to be quick, that he could be thereabouts. But we always know, like, first season, he can have extra stress into the driver, so they might not be able to perform, especially with such a tight margins that we have on this sport. And Otis brings a lot of confidence into the team, comes into the stage like he was at home, and is able to perform almost every single session, and been in Q3 the majority of the times on fighting for pole positions. So
yeah. I was going to say, it's exactly what he was doing, wasn't it, for Brazil and also yesterday. And you can see what it means to him as well when he's sitting in the rig and the emotion that comes out of him. Is there a point where you kind of have to tell him you need to rein it back a bit with the emotion in terms of the excitement or the, I don't know, disappointment, or are you embracing that this is what Otis brings?
I think he's just embraced it, accepted. Obviously, all of these guys put a lot of effort into it, so this will bring a lot of emotions. So it's just a matter of accepting the emotions and try to be focused when it comes to the racing. And I think he's managing that just fine as well.
Yeah, really good management, I think. And then in the other seat, obviously, you've got two drivers that are kind of rotating. You've got Fabrizio and Duncan, of course. Is it nice to have that consistency as well of knowing that you could put any driver in and they would be strong alongside Otis?
I think comparing to Otis, Duncan and Fabrizio haven't had quite the same amount of performance, but they are very important for the team. So the team dynamic has been very good so far. They've been working very well together, especially when it comes to developing setups or race strategies, which is also a very important part. But Duncan is also his first season, although he's been with us for a while now. And he's struggling a bit, mainly in qualifying, but I know he has quite a lot of race pace, and Fabrizio brings a lot of experience to the team. So I think all of them together, although the results might not show so much for Duncan and Fabrizio, they are able to make Otis shine a bit better as well.
Heading to Brazil next. As we were talking about with Otis, he was fighting for pole position. The end of qualifying was really, really exciting. So if you missed it, do make sure you check out the feed because it was definitely one to watch. But Otis starting pretty high up.
Yes, so P6, he was a bit disappointed with the P6. In my view, I'm happy if he's disappointing with the P6. He can be disappointed a few more times, and I know he wants to be on pole every single qualifying that he's there, and I'm sure he's going to have enough opportunities to be on pole position.
And it's so nice, we're just seeing him there laughing, of course, with his teammate Fabrizio, who looks actually very serious compared to what Otis is looking, but waving, looking relaxed. It's definitely such an interesting look at what we've seen from a rookie as well. He's got such confidence.
I think maybe that's because might be the young age. He doesn't put the pressure on himself. I don't know, but whatever he's doing is clearly working so far. So we just want to keep him that way and make him able to bring some more performances for the team.
Potential world champion there?
I think, well, we're still a few races away, so I wouldn't take that out of the equation just now. So I think everything can happen, especially when we see fights between Ronhard and the Red Bulls. So who knows?
It's going to be spicy out there. Less than 8 minutes to get going now. Ariana, you take it over.
Thank you so much, Claire. Thank you very much. Let's get into it, shall we? Round 10, I'm joined by Alex Jakes and Matt Gallagher here on the desk, taking us through all of today's show. How are we feeling for this? I'm so excited.
I have to say, after a box office qualifying in Brazil, I'm ready for this race. I don't know who's going to come out on top, but I know it's going to be incredibly close. When we've had a qualifying session like that, it spells good things.
It does indeed. Matt, this is going to be chaotic, entertaining, everything, right?
Yep, throw all the words in there. Of course, myself and Alex had to lie down after qualifying, some hot drinks, lemon syrup and everything else. Yeah, we needed to really sort
whale music.
Yeah, it was good crescendos that we were delivering there. But I think there's going to be a lot more screaming coming our way, just purely because Brazil, as we've said so many times, is, in my opinion, the best track on the calendar. It always delivers. What the weather will do is a big question mark.
You had a look yet?
Well, they're not actually in yet.
I know,
Alex, so
I'm trying to.
I'd love
for the big camera and the
okay,
audience.
I'm going to say yes, and
no
one knows.
We don't know yet.
Not going to reveal.
It's all right. I've only been doing this for years.
We will find out shortly what the weather is actually doing. But for now, let's have a little look back at how qualifying went down.
Alfie Butcher will not progress. He is the shock name to fall. Blakely pulling back into the pit. Beresne, who just didn't seem to hook it up across the lap. Jana on there! The same time again! And there's been frozen! What is going on?
Feels very good to be P2. Took a lot of time to get a good qualification, but I'm very happy. The race, I think it should be fine. I did quite a bit, so just have to see and what we can do.
Haas on pole! And here comes Thomas Ronhard to try and spoil the Haas party. Hey, he got it at the last! Thomas Ronhard with provisional pole!
It was amazing. The lap itself, I think, was not one of my best, I will admit. And I was like, okay, this is a messy quali. So I knew how to send it in sector 2 and 3. Managed to put it together in the end. And yeah, now I'm happy to start on the front runner again. And yeah, perfect start so far.
Lovely little look back there at how things went down in qualifying. And now Marcel Kiefer joins us, ready to chat. Marcel, it's going to be a good one, and we're going to get straight into some of the track characteristics, and we want to pick at your brains because this is a track that, of course, you have raced at and done well at as well. So talk to us a little bit about this circuit.
Well, Interlagos is a very, very fast-speed track where the balance of the car is also super important. I mean, we've seen in the past so many different winners, which also comes into play with the teamwork. You work a lot, multiple months on setups, and if you get it wrong a little bit, it costs you on a short track like that way more than usual. So we can see also very important is top speed, but the middle sector is all about downforce. So you need to find a good balance in between both areas of car development and how you want to set it up. For the race, probably most teams are opting for a lower wing setup, but still, if you can run a bit more downforce while still keeping close, you're also closer at the end of Sector 2, leading up onto the best overtaking opportunity, end of Sector 3, leading into Turn 1 and Turn 2, and also Turn 4. These are probably going to be the hotspots where we'll see drivers in action.
Speaking about setups, something we saw that was interesting from yesterday was Jarno Opmeer, and him speaking about the fact he went for a very low drag setup, but he then commented about the fact that that was actually quite a high tyre deg setup, and he needed to do that Opmeer strategy that we always praise in order for it to actually work. And I know that myself and Alex got sold down the river slightly when he was 4 tenths clear going over the line for the final lap, and we're thinking, oh, he could be under pressure here, and he wasn't.
Well, I mean, the tyre deg obviously comes into play a lot when you choose a low drag setup, just because you actually, low drag means that you have less downforce, so you have also a bit more tire scrubbing, especially in the high downforce segments of the track. Especially the middle sector. On Brazil, it's not that bad. We have the C4, C3, and C2 compound, and we will also have a look at the strategies.
The Marcel strategies.
Oh,
here we go.
Also, Marcel didn't mention he was second in Brazil. He's so humble. It's ridiculous.
So here, probably the most picked strategy, I believe, will be mediums to softs. I don't think we will see anyone going for hards unless they pit super early. But the tire window, the softs last long enough to actually go for them. And if you can run them, you should definitely go for it. So I think it's going to be a one-stop, as always, medium to soft, probably kind of halfway through the race.
Is the bottom one the Jarno Opmeer strategy?
Maybe Jarno's going to go early today.
Okay. Let's see. Before we chat a little bit more about how things are going to unfold, let's have a look at a track head-to-head between Alfie Butcher and Nicholas Longe.
In Brazil, I think my biggest strength is Sector 2, like being able to just follow extremely closely. Even if I have a little bit like lower downforce, faster on the straights, I can just find the grip in the middle to stay close enough.
So I've always been quite confident at the Turn 4, end of Sector 1 corner. It's quite an important corner on the F1 games where you can maximise the entry and obviously get a really good exit at the same time. And it's also a good overtaking opportunity. So yeah, I'm really confident at that corner in particular, and hopefully I can get some good moves this season.
He has. Falling away is Alfie Butcher. He's going to go for it. He's going for it round the outside, moves up in the 5th position, and Freddie Rasmussen.
If I have a good middle sector behind Alfie, I probably would run a lower wing setup than him, so I can maybe fight him on down the straight into Turn 1. I know it's tricky to go into Turn 1 because then there's a DRS afterwards, so you have to make sure to stay on the inside for Sector 1 and keep the line. Otherwise, he can do a cutback and get me again into Turn 4. So it's important to make him have a bad run out of Turn 1.
Specifically, I'd say obviously one lap pace is quite important. With it being such a short track, it's quite important for us to get obviously a good lap on the board and qualify as high as possible to give us the best chance of retrieving the best race.
Going to be great to see how both of those drivers go in the race shortly. It's nearly time to get into it. As we've mentioned, Thomas Ronhaar starting on pole. Last year, he was able to convert that pole to victory at this circuit. Do you think it's going to be quite so simple this year?
No, I think he's got a curveball in there with the Haas on the front row. I think he's got Opmeer as a danger man inside the top 5. But it's where you'd want to start if you gave him the choice. So who knows?
And Matt, before I leave you guys to it, who else are you keeping an eye out for in that top 10 especially?
Well, it's just outside the top 10, actually.
fine.
It's Fassi. It's 11th.
Just purely to spoil things.
I'm sorry, but it is probably a really key moment for Fassi in the championship. Does he want to win this one? He can't be finishing probably any lower than 5th if he wants to have a chance in these next 3 races, or next 2 races after Brazil. So that would be the driver I'm really looking out for, to see if he can just mark that sort of charge that he showed in Event 1.
And Marcel, finally, what are you keeping an eye out for across the whole grid, across the circuit, and what should we be looking out for?
I think for Ferrari, especially Barry, because if he doesn't nail this race from P10 with a good comeback, I think it's pretty hard for him to get back involved in the championship fight for today and also tomorrow.
Lovely. Thank you very much, guys. It is time now to go racing, and I think it's going to be a good one. So everyone get comfortable. It's time to hand over to our lovely commentators. Take it away, guys.
Thank you very much, Ariana. Here we go. In Brazil, one of our favourites ready to unleash 20 cars down to the Cenaresses. The iconic first 2 turns on this racetrack, and the same turns, but from the bottom of the hill. You can get pinched on the apex of 2. You can run wide at the start at turn 3. But Matt, the first turn, the 4th turn, brilliant overtaking opportunities.
Certainly is. It's not a long run down towards turn 1 on the first lap, which I'm sure Ronha will be breathing a sigh of relief, but it is going to be Slipstream City all the way out of the final corner, penultimate corner technically, all the way down towards turn number 1. Strategy really important. What are we going to see from the drivers? Who's going to go aggressive? And oh my goodness gracious me, we've got rain, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's take you through the grid for what is going to be a rainy Brazilian race. So Zelderum and Hardy are 19th and 20th. It is Hardy's first start in the championship this year. Then it's Manley next to Donoso's 18th and 17th. We move forward. Alfie Butcher's in 16th. Joni Tormela, P15 for Alpine. Lucas Blakely in 14th. He's next to Danny Bresnay as the chatter in the arena increases given the conditions. Williams occupy the next row. Alvaro Caraton in P12 next to Ismail Fassi. He'll be one of the drivers delighted with what he's seeing out there. Big opportunity to turn around at 11th place. Next up, all Ferrari road. Nicolas Longuet in 10th. Barry Burramund in 9th position as he tries to keep his title hopes alive. Thomas Gao is the second Haas in the grid. They had a great qualifying. Jake Benham will be a driver looking to move forward from 7th position. Otis Lawrence is in 6th next to Josh Edu, who at one point was on provisional pole before being buffeted down to 5th place. Next up, the Red Bull row with Freddie Rasmussen in 4th and Jarno Opmeer 3rd in the classification. The front row features a Haas. Joris Krozen's best ever performance in qualifying puts him 1 place behind Thomas Ronha, looking to make amends after not scoring in yesterday's race.
I have not heard so much chatter around the arena this entire championship. I think this has thrown a curveball. We're seeing on another screen that you're not currently seeing right now, a lot of rain coming down. I'm waiting to see the weather forecast to see if we will get the wonderful, dreamy wet to dry race that we all plead from a strategy perspective.
Told you we should have checked the forecast.
I know, I'm so sorry. I should have looked out the window, shouldn't I, really? But we're here in Sweden. And yeah, this one has definitely thrown the cat amongst the pigeons, as I believe the drivers are loading up and getting ready.
Anyone's game. 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights in Sao Paulo, and we go racing down to turn number 1. The Haas up against Thomas Ronha. Can anyone get a launch off the line that improves their position? Will they play it ultra cautious? We make our way through the first 2 turns of the racetrack. Ronha, then Krozen, Opmeer, then Rasmussen, Edu, then Lawrence. The change further back. Nicolas Longuet gets past Ismail Fassi. Fassi had got the better start and had improved up to 10th, but they're as they were, and it's Ronha who holds the lead. They find themselves all on the intermediate tyres as we make our way through turn number 4.
Clean, composed start from the drivers out there. Barry Burramund, as we are focusing on right now, P9 just ahead of his teammate Longuet, a little bit further ahead. That was Edu and Benham going side by side for P6, and Edu just about staying ahead of the moment. Benham's through.
Benham got the move from Fedadura further around the lap, and now Edu comes back. They've been side by side for so many corners. The drivers battling over 6th position. They were cautious, weren't they, in the early moments of the race, and understandably so, given these conditions. We're not on full wet. It is very wet out there, but we're on the intermediate tyres, and Thomas Ronha has got the start that he needed. He's got the lead that he needed. Ronha, then Krozen, then Opmeer, then Rasmussen. Otis Lawrence is ahead of Josh Edu, who did well under pressure for multiple corners of the opening lap to hang on to 6th. The points are completed by Benham, Gal, Burman, Longuet, and Ismail Fassi, 3rd in the points. He's only 11th in the order.
Alex, I think the reason that we heard so much chatter around the arena is they've looked at the weather forecast. Now, I've got the information for you right now. From what this is saying, and of course we can take the weather forecast with a slight pinch of salt if you want to, it is a wet to dry to wet race.
Wow.
Over these 36 laps. Overcast in around 10 to 15, and then back to light rain potentially for the end of the race.
What a fascinating racing prospect then. A 3-parter that is going to have a huge impact on who takes this championship. It means that it's all about composure and there's no need to take huge risks. The drivers will have different performances on different tyres. Drivers will favour conditions more than others, but it makes sense given what we've seen. Otis Lawrence is battling up against Josh Edu. That's swapping around. You can see that all the while. Lawrence in 5th, Edu in 6th position. But everyone, with that knowledge, it's going to change the approach as we make our way through the 40 minutes of racing ahead.
Got to say, one of the drivers very impressed, Crozen. I reckon he would have had a slightly wobbly right foot and maybe left one as well at the start of that one. Starting on the front row of the grid in the Haas, they have 1 point to their name currently in the Constructors' Teams Championship. And Joris has done a very good job indeed to remain in P2 at the beginning of this one.
And to put it into context for the rest of the season, a season that has made its way now into its 10th race. We have found ourselves with Haas scoring 1 point all year. Would be a game changer if Crozen can stay there. If it had been a dry race, you have to say, on the balance of what we've seen in race pace so far this year, you didn't back them. I think they've got exactly the conditions they would have wanted to play a major part in the battle at the front. But the last time that we had a wet race, when we were in Zandvoort and we were seeing the conditions mixed, getting your timing right with the strategy, picking the right tyre at the right time, can see that order on the left-hand side of your picture turn on its head. Here's Barry Burman.
How are you feeling, Barry?
Fine, I need to pass Thomas. He's so slow.
Okay, not a great review for Thomas. Poor Barry Burman having to dish it out. They're in competition mode right now, aren't they? Thomas Gal learning the conditions. Gal is actually closer to Benham than Burman was at that stage. You can see he's closing up. Driver in your picture. It's very, it's very Max Verstappen around the same racetrack earlier. A few months ago, but Barry Burman remains in 9th position, not what he needs for his championship bid. Driver in 4th position, 93 points against the championship lead of Jarno Opmeer on 113, coming in to the 10th race of the year.
I know we've got a lot of laps to go, 32 to be precise, but if it was to stay this exact way, then Haas would be scoring 22 points, and that would put them level with Alpine. Of course, Josh Edu is up in P6 as well, but it would close up that battle for P9 in the championship, and there is money on the line as well, don't forget. So hopefully for Haas, I'm kind of glad in some ways. We spoke about the strategy. It has been a comment of ours a few times this season around the Haas strategy and what tyres they decide to go on. These conditions forced the intermediates for them, so we're not seeing anything crazy from the Haas, and I quite like that for their future prospects. However, as we've said, there's going to be a few twists and turns along the way if the weather forecast is accurate, and we will see different phases, and the strategy departments are going to be earning their money in this one.
It's a chance to win it, it's a chance to bin it. It's what we love about this championship when it comes into the stages. Great run for Crozen out of that final corner. Drivers becoming less patient as we make our way to lap 5 of 36. They will be drying out, drivers will be getting braver. We know from the weather forecast that it is expected to dry. Look how close the Haas is. If the Haas gets any closer to the lead, we're going to have to play the theme music, aren't we, Matt? Oh my word, they're close. Having waited for their opportunity, Crozen having a superb early stint to the race. He's waited all year long for this chance. What he won't super love in the left mirror and right mirror, the Red Bull pair of Opmeer and Rasmussen, the double champions behind, having a look at trying to make the move. No real impressions up or down the order at the moment. Everyone holding firm before we get to the drying conditions.
Yeah, Crozen has to show a lot of grit and determination with this one to try and keep P2, because he has some very fast Red Bulls behind. We're riding on board with Freddie Rasmussen right now. A big old slide around the penultimate corner as he heads down the back straight for the 5th time. But they are in a very good position, our Red Bull. But one thing to definitely note is, of course, with these conditions, there is always going to be an optimal lap to change over to the dry should we get dry conditions. Both Red Bulls line astern in 3rd and 4th, which will mean one of those drivers will take a slight hit, and that will obviously be Freddie Rasmussen, just purely from the fact that Jarno Opmeer is in the Drivers' World Championship hunt and is, of course, leading the way with 113 points.
Just looking at Thomas Ronhaar, very, very calm behind the wheel, doesn't look flustered at all. Let's go on board with the man. I was looking behind the commentary desk. You can see minimal inputs on the steering wheel.
It's not raining already, Alex.
Well, they were moving off the racing line, which is usually an indication that they're testing out. It looks increasingly dry out there. For a chance for some of the contenders out of position, Barry Burrament, Ismail Fassi, is there a moment to gamble early? Is there a chance to reignite the title bid by going to the rubber first, where if you're at the front of the field, you've got to play cautious. You've got to, because you can't chuck away track position and then be faced with a question from Claire afterwards about why it went the way that it did. That's just the nature of the game. If you get it right, you're talking to us on the desk. If you get it wrong, you're explaining yourself to Cottingham, who's laughing at us a few meters away. Lap 7 of 36, the World Championship titles are in the balance. Ronhaar, Krozen, Opmeer, Rasmussen, Lawrence, Edu, Benham, Gao. Boromond and Longuet are point scorers, all waiting for the track to dry for the 2nd chapter of what could be a defining race for who takes home the largest trophy in 2025.
The weather forecast is playing out at the moment, as expected. Who will be the first to blink? And sometimes, these conditions, it can just work out for a driver that's the Manleys or Donosos or Zilderim or Hardys of this world that can just take a gamble. They're not going to score any points if they stay there. They're going to have to roll the dice somehow. When will that be? It's dry out there now. I can't see any rain coming down.
It is looking drier and drier and drier. Who pulls the trigger first? Who asks a question of the rest of the field?
Yeah, we're confident it will rain again. We are currently expecting, though, that we may have to put some slicks on in the middle of this race.
Did you make that out?
I was really trying, and no.
We'll boost we'll ride the fader. We'll push it up a little higher. We'll give you a...
It's going to rain again.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Well, we know that. So are they going to try and survive out there? They're going to have to change tyres regardless. We saw that at Zandvoort. These Inters are not going to last all the way through without a serious drop-off in performance. But Thomas Ronhaar, Joris Krozen, Jarno Opmeer, our podium at the moment. We usually start these races in a holding pattern, different type of holding pattern this time. Let's go through exactly what you're seeing on the iPad and the weather information now.
Well, the weather information is saying light rain right now, but I'm not seeing any light rain out on track, so I believe we might be 5 minutes ahead of what I'm currently seeing on this forecast. And then we've got, wow, it could be up to 30 minutes of just overcast conditions. So I think most of this race is going to be with the dry compound of tyre with, a Class 1, Class 2. We don't know how much rain towards the end as we take a look at the replay of the start.
So we go back to the start of the race. Ronhaar getting a good launch. Krozen slotting into 2nd place. The Hasses were going to sort themselves out. It was tight behind Benham and Edu in the Merc as well. Otis Lawrence was able to gain a position. He lost it at this stage. Edu was up to 5th. He regained it. You're looking at live pictures on the right-hand side. And this was down to turn number 4. Everyone playing the long game.
They certainly are.
Blakely made a position. He got himself past Danny Beresne. Donoso was battling as well against Tom Manley, but Tom Manley was able to come back. They're drifting from the racing line, looking to keep their tyres in the temperature window. Tell you what, I'm absolutely loving the game view today. It seems to reflect the ethereal light that you get at Sao Paulo in these murky conditions. And it senses exactly where we are in this battle for both titles, that someone is going to have a huge moment around here. If you get the gamble wrong, you could fall from contention. At the moment, Burrowman and Fashi, they're mathematically still in contention, but they need to take the gamble. Can tell you by looking at the drivers in the rigs, no one's moving around a huge amount. They're not sliding that. It's not very wet conditions at all. Who gambles first? Will they try and wait for the rain to come down again? Dry line is emerging at the circuit name for Carl's Pache.
A lot of conversations happening out there. Are we seeing anyone coming into the pits? I believe Freddie Rasmussen. Yeah.
In for Freddie Rasmussen. Here we go. We've been waiting for this.
So I think this is a call by Red Bull of, right, Otmir's coming in the next lap. Do you want to go one further than that, or do you want to come in now? It's not going to be optimum, but you got to make the move.
He do as well.
And of course, if you are a loyal watcher of ours, this Q1 podcast that we usually have, where we talk a lot, they go out there on the intermediates on a dry track. Well, here is what you needed it for.
Pretty much this is what you needed it for, but we're not seeing them move around anywhere near as much as we would normally. They're trying to maintain the rubber. Otis Lawrence is now up to 4th. Benham is now up to 5th. Those stopping, Freddie Rasmussen ahead of Josh Edu, ahead of Alvaro Carreton, who was just behind his teammate, Ishmael Fassi and Tom Manley. They all came in for the medium rubber. Who responds? It's not a long lap, this one. You don't have long to think about it. Will Ronhaar, Crozen, Otmir and Lawrence feel the need to come in? And how quickly can Freddie Rasmussen fire up those tyres? 22 seconds would make it very, very tight on pit exit.
Certainly would. Let's keep an eye. I think we're going to see pretty much everybody coming into the pits, unless there's two teammates.
Whoa,
that's very close.
My word.
For Lawrence there coming in behind Otmir.
Super late on the brakes. Otmir's in. And they pour into the pits. But crucially, Ronhaar does not. Crozen does not. Longuet continues, Butcher continues, Beresne continues, Otmir came in, Lawrence came in, so did Benham and Gao. Freddie Rasmussen is firing his way past many of them at the moment. There's Jarno Otmir, we're on board with Otis Lawrence. We're waiting to see on the right-hand side, captured in the crowd. What an oversteer moment that was. But on the right-hand side, there's Freddie Rasmussen, roaring by. Big moment, consequential moment. But crucially, Otmir is out ahead, and Red Bull have 2 cars line astern. Exactly what they would want to see for the team's championship, and it helps Otmir as well.
Yeah, Lawrence knew that was going to be really tight on pit exit, and you could see with the 45-degree angle slide, he was trying to get on the power to slot in between the 2 Red Bulls, but Rasmussen getting through, of course, having that 1 lap extra on those medium tyres, getting them up to temperature. It's still quite slippery out there.
Ronhaar is coming into the pits. Our race leader is coming in, scrubs off the speed, hits the line. Will it be the right call to go to the medium tyre first? Will it be a lost lead and a rude timing of the pit stop for Kick Sauber? They come in, you can see the pit lane cam. Here come the Red Bulls. Joris, Crozen and Haas found themselves coming in, and they very nearly pinched the lead. There's a couple of car lengths in. Ronhaar, then Crozen, drifting down the hill. It's going to be so close. We're going on board with Ronhaar. He's dancing all over the road. He's gone for the softs. He's not gone for the medium tyres. They fire up quicker. It's super close between Ronhaar and our championship contender, Otmir. And Otmir gets ahead to take the lead.
Ronhaar onto the soft tyres, crucially. The only 2 in the field are Ronhaar and his teammate Hardy. Every single other driver, bar Zilderim, are on the mediums. That is an aggressive strategy from Sauber.
Jarno Otmir outdrags Thomas Ronhaar, having gone for the earlier lap. Ronhaar will be crestfallen to see the lead disappear. Freddie Rasmussen was able to jump Crozen as well. Otis Lawrence is in 5th, Josh Edu is in 6th, and it's Benham, Gao, Longuet and Boromond. Ferrari, I'm surprised they didn't go slightly earlier there just to give themselves any opportunity, because incredibly, the main team to benefit were at the front. But it is game on, race on for the lead, for the title, between Ronhaar, between Otmir, and there's going to be a change out front. We're expecting rain again, and it's coming down right now. This extraordinary race is about to take another turn. There is rain falling around the circuit.
That's a lot earlier than the predictions of the weather forecast. That's another isolated rain cloud that's come in. The DRS is obviously still being used. As you can see, Otmir trying to stay within Ronhaar. Ronhaar might try and push this one a little bit further back. You have the Alpine there, Josh Edu. and Jake Benham fighting away there a little bit further back. But Ronhaar, very interestingly on soft tyres. Is that going to work? Is it going to be too long waiting for the actual rain shower that's predicted? Because I'm not seeing too much coming down.
Right, there was an angle at turn 1 where it looked like it was raining, but the rest of the circuit looking fine, looking dry, abiding by Matt's precious weather forecast.
It is very precious.
Which he lives by. And then Ronhaar will try and burst clear here. Can Krozen make the move on Freddie Rasmussen? We're driving on board now with the Dutch driver, up against the reigning champ for this year. It did seem that there was rain falling at turn 1. Looks fine for the rest of the circuit, so maybe just one angle in the distance. Ronhaar has the fastest lap and the softest compounded tyre. Freddie Rasmussen getting a brilliant launch out of turn 12 and carrying it all the way through. This car looking a lot more floaty than it did when we were on board with him at other stages of the weekend so far. That 14 of 36, and it remains dry throughout the majority of the circuit. Soft shod, Thomas Ronhaar leads by 0.3 of a second.
So Ronhaar can't get away. As much as he was pushing pretty hard through the middle and last sector of that previous lap, Otmir stayed within DRS. I think he was about 7/10 back when the DRS was enabled, and he managed to just easily rock up back behind Ronhaar. So that's perfect for Otmir and the drivers behind. Just the question is, like Ronhaar and his soft tyres, he's going to be doing the rain dance as we get into the later stages of this one. But all teams are expecting this, of course, to rain again. Here's Benham.
Freddie might have some graining on his tyres. He was one of the first to go.
Yep. So that's just information about the graining phase. And that would affect your rotation of the car. Drivers can't just sit there. Drivers need to respond out front. Very, very close with Jarno Otmir. Heading down to turn number 1. Not able to get the move done. Ronhaar stays ahead.
Otmir wants the lead, that's clear. He had a little look to the inside, did Otmir, and I think ideally the Red Bulls get into that 1-2 position where they can really just dictate this one. But as you can see, as always with this F1 Sim Racing World Championship, they are all pretty much in one huge DRS train. But we have another phase of this Grand Prix to go. And here is Otmir. He has mounted a charge in Event 3, winning yesterday, in the hunt for the victory today. And if he does manage to snatch it away from Ronhaar, that will be a huge, huge momentum swing.
Oh, it's
head to the final 2.
It's the racing equivalent of a 6-pointer in football, isn't it? Because if Ronhaar can win, he can get the gap down to 6 points. If not, it swings the other way, it extends, and it begins to look like Otmir can take the cautious route, place it on the podium. Brilliant opportunity to be a 3-time champion. Ronhaar racing superbly. These 2 Dutch masters out front are our main contenders for the title. Ronhaar, who's never won. Oh, that's super close now between Gao and Longuet. And Longuet, who adores these turns, has a place, has a move up front, and he's made it in the DRS train. Longuet goes on the attack.
Yeah, it's time for Ferrari to start to move forward if they want to have any chance in this team's championship. 8th and 10th will not do it. There's a bit of a defensive shape thrown by Gal there. Burremand didn't know which way to go. Gal looks like he's struggling ever so slightly in this phase of the race. Burremand's going to want to follow his teammate through very quickly. You can see just how close Burremand is to Gal through these corners, practically pushing him round. Yeah, good move from Longuet. Can he dispatch a Vidu next?
It is going to rain again. Right now, we are in the middle stage of a race that has had its order interrupted. For Krozen, dropping him down from 2nd to 4th position. Otis Lawrence is trying to join this gaggle as well. There again is a huge moment, huge opportunity for Otmir, and he's just not able to fire it through, but it's getting tight now. Krozen chasing Rasmussen, Rasmussen chasing Otmir, and Otmir finding himself just off the back of Ronhaar.
Oh, it's a brilliant position for Otmir to be in, because he knows he's not going to come under pressure from the driver behind. So it's Freddie. Freddie has his back as we now go with Burremand and Gao.
trying to go the long way round, does so! Move that gets completed at turn number 5 is always one we're going to enjoy at the commentary desk. Both Ferraris firing past the Haas, Longuet ahead of Burrman, Gal down to 10th position. It's lap 17 of 36. The Ferraris moving forward, so they have pace that can now work up alongside. Crozen coming under pressure. The Haases do not have the race pace, do they? They do not have the race trim, and you saw just a flash of it a moment ago. The green Aston Martin of Otis Lawrence was getting close with Joris Crozen.
Certainly is. He won a chance down towards turn 1, ideally, if he deploys a bit of energy. Let's have a look at Lawrence. Does he shake for the inside? We know he's not afraid to make a late-breaking move, as there's action out in front as well.
Look at this! Jarno Opmeer, Freddie Rasmussen, 2 Red Bulls, 1 corner. Ron Hart feeling the need to get his elbows out, but he can't have contact again. He had contact yesterday. It hurt his championship charges. The Bulls on the charge. Both of them through. Opmeer and Rasmussen, and Thomas Ron Hart drops down to 3rd position.
That was an orchestrated move by Red Bull. They knew exactly what they were doing with that one. That is to perfection, to the T, what they would have wanted to have happened. Both Red Bulls now 1st and 2nd. They can try and really manage this one from here.
Alvaro Caraton has got past Thomas Gal. He's down to 11th position. Crozen is hanging on. Otis Lawrence is close. Haas race pace again, falling away. But it's a Red Bull 1-2, and the championship momentum changes again. This is the moment that Opmeer and Rasmussen fired past Ron Hart, who could not fight back and dropped down. Back to live pictures, Opmeer, Rasmussen, Ron Hart. Ron Hart needs it to rain. Ron Hart needs it to rain right now.
I guess one saving grace for Ron Hart is that he will, as long as he gets the strategy right, be able to jump onto the intermediate tyres when the rain starts to come down at the optimum point. Although he's looking quite slow already.
Soft is fading. Crozen in the wheel tracks.
Has he made the wrong decision? Have Sauber made the wrong decision to go onto the soft? He's still quite close to Freddie Rasmussen, but we've not seen Crozen as feisty as this the entire Grand Prix.
Brilliant. Season's best for Joris Crozen. Wonderful to see. He is giving it everything. He's in the mix. This would be Haas's best result by a mile this year if he can stay there. We're ticking through at the moment. What was a battle that was closing up is extending Jarno Opmeer's way. And that is brave stuff. Nicolas Longuet in the Ferrari trying to get past Josh Edu. He's just got a better feel around this circuit. He just adores Sao Paulo. He's able to do things that others aren't at the moment. Ebbing and flowing. Nothing between the two cars as they go wheel to wheel. When he stands on the brake, Edu will have to give him a huge chop, because if he doesn't, there'll be trouble. There's trouble at turn number 2. Inside line, wheel banging between the Aston Martin and the Haas. Otis Lawrence gets by and claims 4th place.
Oh, big move from Lawrence. Crozen coming under pressure from Benham as well.
Inside line, position gained. Longuet up to 7th place. He's able to pass at will right now.
Benham ahead of Crozen as well, up to P5 for the Mercedes driver. Crucial for them in the team's championship. Ferrari start to make their move. Next up for Longuet is Crozen, who is falling away now. We just spoke about the fact he looked pretty competitive only the last lap.
Drops of rain?
You really are loving this.
Is it hints of rain out there?
There is rain coming, but according to my weather forecast, 5 to 10 minutes. So it's going to come, Alex. I promise you, don't worry. It's coming.
It is raining now.
It is. It is. God, you are the rainmaster.
Either you would get your eyes tested or I was. Matt's off to Specsavers. We're off to lap 21. Jarno Opmeer, Freddie Rasmussen. Thomas Ron Hart will be delighted that it's raining.
What's happened to Edu? He's coming to the pits already.
Well, he's got to gamble. Why not? Wow. Why not gamble? This is what we want to see. Will Fassi do the same thing? Will Borman do the same thing? Your title hopes are over unless you roll the dice here. Come on, it's got to be game on. It's got to be an opportunity to give yourself a chance. Josh Edu's taking it for the Alpine. Will the others do the same? At the moment, Jarno Opmeer. Oh, it's getting very close between Otis Lawrence and Thomas Ron Hart, who has to be cautious, but he can't afford to lose any more points. And he's claimed 3rd. Otis Lawrence is all over the back of him. Now on the intermediate tyres, trying to fire them up. Josh Edu begins his outlap with the entire field looking at his sector times as he does so.
Look at his sliding around is Ron Har. Is he going to come into the pits next?
They're all moving around a lot more in the arena than they were before. Surely this is going to be the moment. Will it be Otmir? Will it be Rasmussen? Ron Har will need to come in. Is it a lap too soon? It is raining out there, but is it raining enough to need the intermediate tyres? Your answer, a few moments' time. Okay, they've split it. They've split it. In comes Rasmussen, and Otis Lawrence has as well. Ron Har goes again on tyres that were fading.
I can't believe he's carried on for another lap, Alex. I really can't. He was struggling on traction. He's 1.1 behind Otmir. And he's falling away, as you can see by the sector times. 1.3 now, 1.4.
There's no offset. There's no offset if you pit the same lap as Otmir, which will surely be the second, which will surely be this one. Very, very big moment in the championship. It's going to have to be done on the intermediate tyres for Thomas Ron Har.
He's got Longuet all over the back of him. Ron Har is under pressure from Longuet.
You can see why you'd keep Longuet out. Okay, let's deal with the order and then we'll deal with the analysis. Right, Rasmussen out ahead of Otis Lawrence. They're on the inters. Got to fire the tyres up, but it's a weird one. It's very unusual. It's not fully wet, it's not fully dry. We're right in the middle of the conditions at the moment. Otis Lawrence finds himself in 11th. Jake Benham is in 3rd. He's got ahead of Joris Krozen. You're on board with Thomas Ron Har, who's going to be coming in. That gap is extended to 1.7 seconds. Here we go. It's going to have to come in. Going to have to come in now because everyone else is fired up. Race leader's coming in, so is Ron Har. There's no offset between the top two. He'll try and gain some back under braking of pit in, but will this throw the race to anyone else? The likes of Alfie Butcher and Joni Tormela, they're just going to chance their arm. They're going to stay out there for as long as possible. And now Ismail Fassi's staying out there as well, so he's trying something different. Now Fassi's now come into the pit as we go over the line. Where is Freddie Rasmussen going to go? We'll do a side-by-side for you as we come out of the pits. Freddie Rasmussen went for the conditions earlier on, and you can see it's going to be close with his teammate, but Rasmussen is going to be ahead of Thomas Ron Har. That opportunity was there for Sauber. And you see Josh Edu went super early. Josh Edu and Joni Tormela racing all the while. Let's see, Thomas Ron Har finds himself out behind Joris Krozen, and the points are ebbing away for the man who came into this event as the championship leader. It's Jarno Otmir, Freddie Rasmussen, then it's Jake Benham getting past Otis Lawrence, Joris Krozen in 7th, Thomas Ron Har is in 8th. Only the top two still need to pit with the rain coming down.
Benham's having a fantastic race, up to now P3 on the road when Butcher and Tormela decide to pit. They've gone for something different, and Otmir is catching them as we have a swap of position between Buremand and Edu. They're still going side by side, as you can see in the background there, and it looks like Edu's going to come out on top in that one. But I am mystified by that move from Ron Har. I really am.
Had to be an offset.
Oh, Burmand's been involved in something, I believe.
Borman dropping down behind Thomas Gal, but there had to be an offset when you're behind your championship rival. You can't pit on the same lap, otherwise you let him off the hook. All sorts going on in these conditions. This is not going to be the well-behaved stint of earlier on. This is going to be elbows out, maximum aggressive driving.
Josh gained a few tenths in the middle. That's not what I want to hear. Josh gained.
It's not what I want to hear. Well, that was his fight between Edu, I believe, as still more battling. This time, Buremand and Berezne.
What's happened to Barry Burman? Because he's dropping down the order. Can't see any obvious damage to the front wing, which is normally what we'd check. Red Bull have a 1-2. They judged it nicely with Freddie Rasmussen. Jarno Otmir is in the lead of the race. Jake Benham has won nicely through the period of the pit stops. Benham in 3rd, Otis Lawrence in 4th, Thomas Ron Har in 5th, past Joris Krozen, or at least trying to, slithering all over the road. He's not given up on this one yet. He's got the pass done, and now Thomas Ron Har is going to try and fight his way past the other 4, giving himself a mountain to climb, but no one's out of this one. We're on board with Thomas Ron Har, who dropped down the order. He's gone on the attack. He needs to if he's going to keep this title battle alive.
He needs to before DRS gets disabled, as well as he gets very close to the rear diffuser of Lawrence. But as the rain continues to come down, you'd imagine that there's going to be a change of the usage of DRS in this one with 11 laps to go. There's the Haas. Krozen coming under a lot of pressure. But actually, that is in fact Tamas Gal, Alfie Butcher and Josh Edu fighting for the final points-paying position. That will mean so much for Gal to score that one singular point for 10th place. It's been a torrid season for Haas, despite the potential in qualifying. But we've looked further ahead. Lawrence is very close indeed to Benham. And just like magic, here we go, riding on board with them. The two Red Bulls will be playing this one as smart as possible with their energy deployment to ensure that Freddie saves throughout the lap and then can just use all of it down the straight to save his second place, but also to keep Jarno Opmeer safe from attack in P1 as well.
I'm not sure if I was going to pick two drivers that I would not want to contain. I think Benham and Otis Lawrence would be right up there. They're prepared to go on late lunges because they don't have to worry at all. Benham hasn't been deployed at all the races this year. Otis Lawrence wants another podium, wants to keep racking them up. Did so yesterday. Rain's coming down all the time. They're having to assess the different grip conditions. Danny Bresnay, Josh Edu. Josh Edu gambled. And I admire the gamble. It's not worked out. He had a moment pushing wide and going wide with Barry Burman, which is what all the noise is about in the studio. Jake Benham under big pressure from Otis Lawrence. Red Bull separated out front, but Jarno Opmeer looks like he's going back-to-back. And we said at the start of the event, if you can go back-to-back and win 2 races in a row, you are going to be the heavy championship favourite. Otis Lawrence soaring away like he's in the sheds, and he's nearly able to get so. Oh, there's a chance. Can now Ron Ha go the long way round? Can he pinch to the apex? He's got the wheel in there. You're not allowed to hook, but he can get to the apex first. There's a chance for Ron Ha. Cranked on the steering wheel. Ron Ha's going to get there. Ron Ha is working in these conditions. He ain't out of this one yet.
I am not too sure about that one, Alex. There was contact in the corner prior to that, which put Lawrence slightly at a disadvantage. I think the stewards and Aston Martin might want to have a word about that one.
The stewards being busy after F1 sim racing has...
But Ron Ha wants another one!
Ron Ha is going to get another one. Ron Ha's going to argue it afterwards. He's come absolutely electric at the end here. Ron Ha's getting past cars at will. He's got great pace and he's got 2 Red Bulls between him. Thomas Gal's been given a penalty. Otis Lawrence has got the inside, but Benham's got the battery to move ahead for the moment. And that's well defended from Jake Benham. Otis Lawrence has to stay in the wheel tracks. Alfie Butcher's getting past Thomas Gal. Cal has a penalty. DRS is disabled.
Crucial.
Huge moment in the race.
Just as Ron Ha gets to the back of the 2 Red Bulls, he's 1.5. 10-5, he's going for another one!
He's trying now at a different part of the racetrack. Ron Ha is trying to do it at parts of the set. My word, this is aggressive. He's back to event 1, Ron Ha. Ron Ha, the aggressor, is going on the attack, and this is absolutely wild for the standard of these drivers. Trying to turn the outside into the inside. 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings for Thomas Ron Ha. Now that, at this stage, is only a provisional penalty.
Yeah, that won't count. That was Freddie and Ron Ha going side by side. That's an in-game penalty. I have no doubt in my mind that will get rescinded once the stewards have had a look at that. Crucially, with the side-by-side battling, Opmeer now 1.1 seconds clear.
And no DRS, so there's no problem with being 1.1 seconds clear. Thomas Ron Ha is going to have to fight his way by. My word, that's aggressive stuff from Nicolas Longuet. He's up against Fassi. Fassi knows he's got to keep contending here if he wants to stay in mathematical contention. And he's up to 7th position. Crozen continuing to run for what would be Haas's best result of the season so far. Absolutely box office in Brazil.
I feel like Opmeer might actually be just letting off slightly to give Rasmussen at least a distant tow. To be able to help him to defend as we have Fassi. He's still trying to stay in this championship. Oh! They're all sideways. Move to the inside.
This is hyper-aggressive. Wonderful to watch. Fassi trying to go around the outside. Cars moving around gloriously. Fassi to the inside. Crozen won't want to give it up, but if you risk too much contact, you'll lose the position anyway. Outside line, inside line, outside line. Move complete for Ismail Fassi up to P6.
Oh, beautifully late on the brakes there from Fassi to close the door on Crozen. Now Crozen's got Longuet for company as well. Haas need to try and hold on to some points here.
Red Bull on for a 1-2 at the moment. It would be a critical 1-2 on what has been an event of drama. Nicolas Longuet. Oh my word, Alvaro Caraton sending it from the business district all the way down around the outside. Where did he come from?
Oh, add that one to the commentary lines. We love to see that. Firstly, Amsterdam, now the business district. Alex Jakes, take a bow, my friend. There is.
It's good, Sao Paulo. There's a lot to see, including those moves.
Fantastic.
From Alvaro Caraton.
There's a reason why you're an award-winning commentator, my friend. Anyway,
that's not one of them.
No. Yeah, that won't be going in the show.
Right. Okay, Jarno Opmeer has, as you say, Matt, dropped back into the clutches of Freddie Rasmussen. Thomas Ronhaar, he's just going to give it everything, isn't he? Because he knows what's at stake here. The Red Bull operation, the dream team of multiple champions in the same pairing, it's come good at the end, hasn't it? It's been so important. Ronhaar's so quick. In the middle part of this circuit, you got three defined parts. You've got the flat out blast that they're on at the moment. You've got the center S's and the run down to turn 4, and you've got the infield. On the infield, Ronhaar, absolute mustard through there. Who's dropping down? Joris Krozen. The man who started on the front row is down to 14th. Great effort over one lap, but it's all fallen apart in the rain in the latter stages.
What has happened down there? What has happened?
They're all over the road here. They're all scrapping left and right down to turn number 4. Ronhaar will go for a recharge, will go for a deployment. Otis Lawrence in 5th, Jake Benham, good points for Mercedes in 4th. Fassi and Caraton have made good progress. They've done it the old-fashioned way, didn't go for a massive offset. Longay tried staying out there. There was a window where it looked like Longay was the most effective driver on the racetrack, but it's closed. The rain has come down again. Barry Burman's championship aspirations are fading in P15. And this is what this stage of the season does. This is what the nature of competition will do to you at the business end. At the moment, an enormous result for the championship and a 10-point swing for Jarno Opmeer ahead of Thomas Ronhaar to extend the gap even further and take it out to 23 points with 2 races to go.
Yeah, 1-2 for Red Bull as well, as we have more side-by-side action. That's Longay and Butcher for P8. Does Butcher come out ahead through turn 2? A bit of squeezing. Longay off the road there. I'm sure he won't be happy with that one. But Butcher comes out on top on that particular occasion. But I was trying to say, yeah, the Red Bulls are 1-2 here. And the team's championship, they've got one hand on the trophy, because that is a massive result, with Ferrari scoring currently 2 points and Mercedes 4th and 10th. Red Bull have really lit up event 3.
Yeah, it's worked well for them. Ronhaar's regrouping for his inevitable grandstand attempt at a finish. We've had a few holding laps, and then we're going to go back to all-out attack. Which is how it should be. He does have the penalty hanging over him, but that is expected to be rescinded afterwards, after a little bit of wheel banging in the middle sector that crucially protected the second place. How are your nerves on lap 31 of 36? That tight line that they take to the inside. Opmeer looking for another win. Closing in on Rasmussen's all-time record. That's a late send and a half. The Williams has so much confidence into the center S's. That is the story of how Ismail Fassi took P5.
Great move from Fassi. Now he has Benham, who is clearly struggling out there as well. 1.5 off the front 3. There you go, 1 second penalty. That would have 100% have been for the Otis Lawrence move. So 1 second penalty will not affect his position right now. The Ronhaar with an in-game from the stewards, a 1 second penalty.
So that one official and that one displayed at the top of your screen. Still can be, there's a right of review and they can appeal it.
If the verse stays the same, there is possibility people are going to get puncture?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yes.
It's not over yet, Alex.
I've never covered a puncher in the many years I've been doing this game. But on a day like today, why not? Why not? We've seen everything else. At the moment, Ronhaar, even if he can get past that 1 second penalty, would drop him back to 3rd. They're not going to lose that much time to him. Unless, of course, the tyres do go on the Red Bull. And then the story is complete. Rain looks a little bit heavier at turn number 1 as they continue to pick their way through. This is how it stands. Oh, it's a big, big moment in the championship.
I don't think that's correct either.
It's not.
Ronhaar came into this with 100 points, so he'd be on 115.
Mathematics with Matt continues after the race. The gap is going to be larger than that. Ronhaar would bite your hand off for those point standings, not to be. Otmir, Rasmussen, Ronhaar. The gap is going to extend. Jake Benham is in 4th. Can he keep? I don't think he's going to be able to keep Fassi behind, because in these conditions, the Williams is working wonderfully well. And we cut to that battle. Further up the road, there you go. We cut to that battle of the Williams nearly getting by, and also Alfie Butcher really enjoying these conditions as well. He's had a roar through the field after McLaren have had a tough couple of events.
Could be an important move for Fassi. I know that he'll be a long shot for the championship after this result, but Fassi, of course, still wants to do a good job for Williams as well. And if he can get up to P4, you never know what he could be like in the last 3 laps as well. Try and close into that 1 second penalty that Ronhaar has.
Temps are coming back now.
Yeah. Keep it like this.
More action down towards turn 1, Alex.
Fassi trying to take the position away and complete a really good run through the field. From outside the top 10, he's looking to try and take what would be a 4th of consequence. Ronhaar, again, off the racing line, trying to do something about the Red Bull wall, but it's not going to be moved. Otis Lawrence talking about tyre temperatures, trying to keep it in. Doesn't seem that Jake Benham quite has the purchase at this stage. We're on the 34th lap of the race.
Look how far the front 3 are. They're just gone. They've left the rest of the field to try and manage these conditions. 3.5 seconds Benham is behind Ronhaar now.
Can Ronhaar force Rasmussen off the racing line and at least try and take the move on track and then argue his way to a penalty being rescinded? I'd say, on the evidence that we've seen across the year, very unlikely that penalty would be rescinded.
Yeah.
Dive bombing has been penalised by a second. That is making a move where your car is not entirely under control. Rain's coming down in Sao Paulo. This wonderful racetrack has given us another sim racing classic. In the wet, back to the dry, in the wet again, and the Red Bulls orchestrating things wonderfully well. Joni Tormala, Danny Berezne are our next battle. Coming down the hill, this is for the final point in the classification. That's a lovely way to take 10th place for Joni Tormala.
Fassi's through for 4th as well. We missed that a little bit further ahead. Fassi up to P4 and clear of Benham, but he's 4 seconds back from Ronhaar. That's going to be unsalvageable, sadly. Yes, look how much more rain's coming down. They're struggling out there, wearing intermediate tyres. Yeah, just trying to keep it on the road.
Well, you get to slick to mediate, don't you? You wear away the grooves from the tyres, but then the rain is getting heavier. Look at that, way more animated than we'd normally see. And Benham, not enjoying these conditions whatsoever. Finds himself leading the train at the moment. Ronhaar will just ramp up the aggression on the final lap. Looks like there's a move to the inside from Nicolas Longuet. He's up to 9th place. Joni Tormala is the driver fighting him. We're on board.
Sideways they are, just on traction.
Ooh, that is wheel-banging stuff at speed. Joni Tormala up to P9. Thomas Ronhaar has a decent run out front in the battle for 2nd place. Not super close. Nicolas Longuet still continues the battle. That's Danny Berezne nearly coming by. As we're on to the final tour, the 36th and last lap. Berezne, that's late on the brakes for Longuet. Wonderfully aggressive soaring at the wheel from everyone out there. It has been a hair-raising race. We're on to the final tour.
Oh, this is absolutely ridiculous. They've got no grip out there. This is brilliant to watch. We love to see these drivers push to their absolute limit. Caraton and Butcher are fighting as well for P7.
Whoa!
That's a car off the road.
Off the road we go with Otis Lawrence. Continue on. Alvaro Caraton trying to get past Butcher. Oh, no! He's off! He spun it wide and he dropped down out of the points. What a big moment that is. Lawrence at the end finds himself trying to get back, and he can't. Benham hangs on to 5th place. Otis Lawrence drops down. furious with what happened at the end. The point slipping through his fingers. But meanwhile, at the final corner of the last laps, we find ourselves with Jarno Opmeer climbing the hill and climbing the hill to put one hand on the championship trophy. It will be a Red Bull 1-2. The door swung open for Jarno Opmeer, who tastes success in Sao Paulo, goes back-to-back on the top step and takes the win in Brazil. Freddie Rasmussen in second, and Thomas Ronhaar completes the podium. Ismail Fassi's in fourth ahead of Jake Benham. Alfie Butcher was in sixth, and it was Caraton, Tourmala, Longuet and Beresne. Brazil every single time. Box office.
Unbelievable. A lot of drama. Particularly at the Aston Martin camp right now. Otis Lawrence going over to speak to a certain Mercedes driver that he's had contact with. Yeah, a little sarcastic round of applause as he walks past. But more focusing on the positive stories as we see him leaving the studio was, of course, Red Bull. What an unbelievable performance from them. The top three, including Ronhaar as well, were clear of the rest of the field. There was a massive discrepancy in laps at the end there as well. You had drivers lapping 2-3 seconds a lap slower than others that were setting the pace out there just purely from the tyre deg that they were suffering. They were on the limit.
Well, great drives across the field. Ismail Fassi started in 11th, finished in 4th. Jake Benham went from 7th, ran as high as 3rd at one point, but all about the top two. Red Bull stepping forward, and they have a great chance of the team championship. Opmeer will be delighted now to extend that advantage. It's 23 points with 25 for a win with 2 races to go. It's going to need a big pressure performance from Ronhaar, who has seen his championship aspirations turn away there. A couple of times he's had the chance. Yesterday, no points. Today in 3rd. I wonder if Sauber will revisit not having that offset with Opmeer. Surely you have to do something different to your championship rival. When you know Freddie Rasmussen's in the mix as well, you might be able to beat one of them. I'd say it's nigh on impossible to beat the pair of Red Bulls.
So they made 2 mistakes out there today. One going on the soft tyres. His tyres were clearly wearing towards the end of that stint. He lost quite a bit of time to Opmeer, 1.7 seconds I think the gap was in that initial phase towards the end when he was changing over to the Inters, but yet also not following Freddie in. Copying Jarno Opmeer when he was already struggling out there, sliding, it just wasn't the right decision because it gave him a lot of work to do. He picked up that penalty, which of course didn't affect his overall position at the end, but it affected potentially fighting for the victory had he not picked up that penalty. But elation over in the Red Bull camp and a lot of heartbreak in certain other camps for sure. How we spoke about this arena being serene, calm and everyone laughing, that changed all too quickly.
It did indeed. Man, I haven't commentated with that much noise coming from behind me since I used to do football back in the day. That was the emotions though. We've talked about it so many times. It is the old sim racing adage. The game might not be real, but the emotions are. And this is why we love this championship, that it's fraught, that it's intense. You can see how drained the drivers are, having done that wet, then dry, then wet again race. And it leads us to Red Bull looking at both championships. And worst of all, Matt Gallagher's the only one who picked Opmeer to win the title. So he's on course for finally a prediction to go his way.
Not going to say I told you so, but there's still 2 races to go. I also backed Red Bull to win the teams, but whatever, it's fine. I'm not going to start gloating yet. We'll wait until the end of the season.
Still 2 races to go, all to be decided. One man still fighting for the title is Thomas Ronhaar, speaking to Claire Cottingham.
So disappointed considering you're on a podium. You put up such a fight to get past those Red Bulls, but it just didn't seem like it was going to happen in the end.
Yeah, I mean, we tried our best with going on a different strategy when we pitted to softs. Didn't work in the end, so unfortunately that didn't pay off. But yeah, this race, I got to admit, the Red Bull team did a fantastic job. They deserved the win. Yeah, nothing you could do about it when they worked together so perfectly. It is what it is. I'm so happy I'm in the final championship and feeling very confident for the last 2 tracks. So yeah, all to play for still.
It was an aggressive strategy going on to those soft tyres as well. It was only you and your teammate at one point, and I think maybe one of the RBs that were on this strategy. Was that a call from you, or was that a call from the team?
A bit of both. I think because it was so little laps, I think it was like 7-8 laps. It was, I wouldn't say a no-brainer to go to softs, but the softs last quite well. Unfortunately, when it starts raining, the harder tyre comes in play. So it was quite tough to keep the gap to Jarno with a lot less battery. But yeah, I tried everything I could. After the pit stop, I had to get my elbows out again, just like Kota. Just heard I got a penalty for motors, which was at 1 second only, which is, yeah, I wouldn't say deserved, but yeah, I had to get my elbows out to even get remotely close to the Red Bull. So I had to try, my best. Yeah, I think P3 today is the maximum I could have done.
You absolutely put your elbows out and did everything quite aggressive out there. Was it a thought process to go in with this aggression?
I mean, of course, we start on pole, you want to finish first. That didn't happen, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm still disappointed, but you got to look forward to the coming few races. And yeah, I'm still looking forward to get the possibility to fight against Jarno for the title. Yeah, all to play for.
Points still on the ball. Congratulations. It's still a podium. That's good. I'm going to let you get off now. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to bring in Mr. Freddie Rasmussen. Freddie, come into the light. I feel like we haven't spoken at all this event. How are you feeling?
Good. Well, good race.
It was a good race. You guys have been working incredibly well together as teammates at the moment. Was it a conscious decision that you couldn't get past Jarno, or were you free to fight?
Well, I'm helping out Jarno for the championship, trying to get him as many points as possible while also getting enough for the constructors.
How good has it been to see this turnaround in Red Bull now that you're leading the championships, Jarno's leading the drivers as well?
Yeah, it's good to see. I still feel like I have a horrible season, but at least we're leading and Jarno's leading.
Exactly, that is the positive to take from this. Talk me through your race strategy as well. Obviously, the rain came down. It was quite unpredictable, that rain. Was Red Bull kind of across when that rain was coming?
Yeah, I think we're the best team when it comes to these transition races. So, yeah, they pit us on all the correct laps.
Okay, and are you happy with how it's going, as in this race at least, in this round? We're going next as well. We've got 2 more races to go. How are we feeling about those?
Fine, I guess. Need a good quali, and then we can get some more points.
Okay, well, congratulations. It is second place.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that was Freddie. We do have with us our race winner once again, Jarno Opmeer. Nice to have you back at the desk again. How are you feeling? That was pretty good, that one, I have to say.
Yeah, of course. Was a quite chilled out race apart from the strategy decisions.
Yeah.
Didn't have to push much. I think everyone would agree that the final stint on Inters was all about tire saving. And considering I was in the lead, it was very, very easy. Tried to help Fred as much as possible, giving him slipstream lap after lap because I had a lot less tire wear. Obviously, because I boxed 1 lap later as well, which was a huge difference on the pretty much dry track. So yeah, other than that, it was quite chill actually.
Now it's crazy to think that in the race later today, you could become a 3-time champion. And it's looking quite good for you as well if you do have a strong performance. Can you believe you're in this position, especially when we have spoken to you this season? You've gone, I don't really like the handling. I'm not really enjoying this game that much. Can you believe you're here right now in this position?
With the amount of practice, yes. But yeah, it's always hard to say because I felt like last year I was a lot better. But it just takes a few mess-ups, not having the momentum, not being comfortable to just, for it not to happen, Again, obviously I could win tonight, but at the same time I could also lose 27 points. So, at least one thing is for sure, we can take it to the final race. But Thomas is always really good at Qatar and Abu Dhabi. I'm not too bad on Qatar, to be honest. I would rather it not to go to Abu Dhabi, of course. But again, I'm not bad on any of those tracks.
Talk me through this. We're seeing the highlights right now. Was this an orchestrated move from you guys?
Originally, yes. Me and Fred, in the run-up to that, were discussing, when are we going to go for it? Fred got attacked quite a few times from behind and had to recharge his battery, so I just stayed behind Thomas. And then I went for it. we discussed, we were both going to go for it with the DRS and go for the move into turn 1. But then halfway down the straight, we thought, shit, we're not going to make it. So we both then went back to ERS recovery. And then Thomas just slowed down so much because he went back to ERS recovery as well, thinking they're not going to make it. And then suddenly Fred realized it instantly, turned on the overtake. But then we were already both on the inside, so there was no chance for Thomas to do anything there.
Well, it looked perfect. The final question from me, were you surprised to see Ron Ha go on softs? He was the only, well, him and his teammate were the only drivers to go onto the softs. Was it a really close decision between the soft and the mediums?
It really depended on when it was going to rain. We knew our range, but we didn't know exactly, so we just decided to go the safe way, go for mediums, and we were a little bit slower in the beginning, but as you could see towards the end when it started raining, Thomas was really struggling. But the softs were not a terrible tire, not like Mexico or Abu Dhabi, where they're not going to get used at all apart from qualifying. So, no, I was not too surprised by someone trying it at least.
Jarno, thank you so much for joining us on the desk, and a huge congratulations again. We'll let you go, let you decompress a little bit before we go again in Qatar, but well done on another victory. Thank you so much. Thanks. Well, that is your race winner, and I think that's a perfect time to run through the race results. Alex, please talk us through.
Massive win for Jarno Opmeer, and he brought his teammate with him as well. Freddie Rasmussen and Jarno Opmeer working to perfection, getting the 1-2, and Opmeer has a 23-point lead heading into the final 2 races of the year. Ron Ha completes the podium, then it's Fassi in 4th, Benham, Butcher, Caraton and Tormala, Longuet and Beresne complete the top 10. Freddie Rasmussen gets the bonus point for the fastest lap, which still applies in the Sim Racing Championship. But Jarno Opmeer, one hand on the trophy. We've said it before, it ain't over till it's over.
Absolutely not. Thank you very much. We're now going to head just across there to Marcel, who's picked out some of his highlights from the race, and he's going to take us through them.
Thank you very much, guys. So we are back at the telestrator, and first of all, we are going to start with the lead change, where Jarno Opmeer actually took control of the race. That was with the first pit stop. I'm still a little bit surprised about the strategy decisions of the Kick team, because they pitted Rona 1 lap too late, and they also put him on the wrong set of tires. It was a gamble, it didn't pay off. If he would have pitted the same lap as Opmeer on the softs, he could have pulled the gap, and I think from there on, Rona would have dominated and had such a big gap that nobody could have gotten close. Same with the Inters, they also pitted 1 lap too late, I believe, and it didn't work out. So, let's have a look. First move, that is when he came out of the pits a little bit too late. Rona had to defend the inside, but Jarno had the overspeed and made the move even on the mediums and then held it from there basically. Then we move on for the Red Bull double overtake in lap 17 on Thomas, which was still on the dry compounds, even though I think it started raining again shortly after that. Hard racing between Thomas and Freddie, but Freddie gets it done, doesn't get pushed off, and that is the lead, the 1-2, where they finish it off as well. Then we have a battle with Ron Ha, when he struggled so much on these soft tires with Otis Lawrence. And we have another incident between the two. I'm not sure if actually Ron Ha got the penalty from that or from this dive bomb on Frederick Rasmussen later on. We have a battle with Ferrari. Barry Borman, he didn't have the best race and he needed a really good one also here. I'm not really sure. As you can tell, there is not much space on the right, there is grass, and Josh ever so slightly, I think, moves Barry off the track. Then they actually make contact, and you can see right here, that's where the grass is. So Barry loses so much from that. Breaks on the grass, loses the car nearly, and gets passed by 3 cars. So I think Josh might get a penalty from that. And next up, we have the overtake from Rona. I thought actually his race was over when he came out of the pits, but he made some aggressive moves, and they worked out quite well. Sometimes it was a bit over the edge, and that we can see in the next move with Otis. I mean, at some point, he was still getting right at the right moment alongside, but they are making contact. He's kind of turning into him. For the next corner, they're still side by side, and then you can actually argue, even though it looked live like he got pushed off the track, yes, he kind of did from Otis, but at the same time, I think it's just like hard racing, because they already made massive contact before. He still passed him, so I don't know if the 1 second penalty is from that or his other move on Frederick Rasmussen, where he did a similar move. Otis had also a good view at the overtake from Ronna into P3 on Jake Benham, who struggled on the intermediate tire. I think he pitted very early, so that's why he struggled. Then here we go. I think this was the actual penalty because he made big contact. They could have ended in damage for both drivers. Barging his way through, and I mean, Freddy says no, thank you very much. Does the same thing, so I'm not sure. Gotta see what the stewards say. Tries it again on the outside, it doesn't work out. Jake nearly gets through, then he got pushed off from Freddy, but I don't think he was fully alongside, so this is just a mistake from Thomas. And now we are getting to the end of Otis's race, where he got a little bit heated up with Jake, and I think that is on Otis, because you can see Jake is moving into the fastest corner of the middle sector, where you nearly go flat out in the dry, and Otis is not fully alongside. Now they make contact, and Otis breaks on the grass, loses so many positions. I think he's dropping 4 or 5, dropping out of the points. I don't think this is on Jake. I think he just held his line, and he was fully ahead. So this is it from me. Thank you. Back over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Marcel. Well, he has just delved into that Jake Benham incident, and I believe that Claire is with Jake right now, so let's see what he has to say.
Yeah, we're going to talk through that incident just shortly, but firstly, Jake, just talk me through your race. You were starting to struggle just a little bit at the end, weren't you, on those tyres, and changing conditions as well?
Yeah, it was a really difficult race with like 2 transitions, and ultimately I was just too high on wing, and somehow that made my tyre wear also just like way more than everyone else. So I was slow up the straight when it was dry. That was just a complete holding on, as well as just more tyre wear than everyone. So I was in puncture territory at the end, but yeah, there was no way to get out of it. So had to just drop back and just claim P5, which is the max in the end, which I'm really happy with, to be honest.
Well, it's good management not to get the puncture. Well, the talking point, though, was on the last lap, and I'm going to get you to look through it and see exactly if we can kind of dissect what happened. Now, this is the replay of the onboard for, obviously, you're in front, we're on board with Otis Lawrence. What was going on here?
Well, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people have said the same thing, it's a racing incident just because he's not alongside. I know there's grass on the outside, but ultimately he's not alongside. And the actual contact, if you look, is in the braking zone slightly. So he's put himself in that position. If we both went through the corner at the same speed, let's say, we're not making contact. And yeah, in my opinion, these things happen. It's a bit of a do or die move, in my opinion. But yeah, at the end of the day, I hope I don't get a penalty for it, because I don't think I should.
Okay.
But yeah, if it is, it is. We'll just go on to the next race in Qatar.
Obviously, there's always quite high emotions going on within that, and I'm sure you guys will talk it out and kind of have that conversation. And it might go to the stewards, and probably will, in terms of Aston Martin talking about it as well. If you were, though, in Otis's position, would you feel differently, or is it clearly just a racing incident?
Of course, you would feel differently. If I was in that position, I'd be angry as well. But I'd like to think I wouldn't put myself in that position in the first place on the outside, just because I know there's grass there. These incidents happen all the time, and you can't just like think you're allowed space just because you dive in there type thing. Going into the corner, he's there, but again, I'm way ahead, so it's my corner, and yeah, that's my opinion to it. And I'm sure obviously he's gonna have his opinion, and we'll talk it out and see where it goes. But yeah, ultimately at the end, it's a good race for me. So good points for the team as well. Shame about Red Bull, but yeah, we can't control that.
No, points obviously very important. You were leading the championship coming in. Red Bull now leading, so lots to do in the last couple of races for you guys.
Yeah. Big time.
Big time. Thank you so much for chatting to us, Jake. I appreciate your honesty as well. Guys, back to you.
Thank you very much. Well, nice to hear Jake's perspective there on that incident. We did see a very angry Otis, didn't we? I mean, he hopped straight out of the sim, stomped over, wouldn't even acknowledge Jake. What is your take on it?
Yeah, he gave him a sarcastic clap on the way by.
Yeah, he did.
Honestly, I'm so old now, I was wondering if we're going to have to separate them. It's getting ridiculous, whereas previously you'd say, let's see how this one turns out. Look, the emotions are high. That's how I feel watching Ipswich Town defend this year. So, look, you just gather it together. Look, they're young, right? Otis Lawrence is a teenager. He's come in. He's done brilliantly. I think he'll go through scenarios like this. He'll learn with every single one, and he'll try and temper down those emotions because when you do, he is a absolutely rapid customer. But he wasn't fully alongside. Clear as day. And tough one to take, and some points lost as a result.
Well, you mentioned points. Let's have a little look at how the points stack up after that race, shall we, with the drivers' standings. Take us through it, guys.
Oh, go on then. 23 points separate Otmir and Ronhar at the top. Fassi still has a nose in. 28 points back with 2 races to go. Anything can happen. I know we keep saying it, but it literally can. Rasmussen, I believe, is now mathematically not possible to win this one, but he certainly can play a pivotal role in these next 2 races to secure Jarno Otmir his 3rd title, but also win the team's championship as well. Red Bull looking very strong in that one, but it is certainly not over. Ronhar very strong around these next 2 races, as Otmir says. He wants to wrap it up, Otmir, later on tonight. We don't want that at all. We want it to go down to the final race. Come on, Jarno, give us some entertainment. And then off to the second page, Alex.
Where Tom Manley, thank you for that wonderful throw.
No worries, mate.
Matthew.
No worries.
Tom Manley, 51 points. Nicholas Longay, 47. Then Caraton, Tormala, Blakely and Edu. Hoffland, Lee, Gower and Ozilderim. 19 scoring points. I thought it was 20. Maybe Brendan Lee wasn't on that classification because he wasn't racing today. Oracle Red Bull Racing. They find themselves 218. What a turnaround. You've got to say, incredible execution from them to get the job done. Mercedes in 2nd, and then it's Ferrari, Williams, Kick Sauber, and then McLaren, Aston Martin, Racing Bulls, Alpine, and MoneyGram Haas. Again, 1 lap pace. Yeah, we're dancing, and then it gets to race day, and they can't put it together, which was the exact story of the team before Ao Komatsu came in charge there. So yeah, tough for them, but a starring role in the Brazilian round.
Thank you very much, guys. That was lovely. Before we wrap things up, I just want you to give me your highlight of that race very quickly, please.
Ooh, highlight of the race, Matt. What are you going to go for?
I've got one. When Alex Jakes said a driver sent it from the business district, that was it. That was one of the best.
Some cities have downtown, some have central business districts. Yeah, I have to say, I love the nature of a wet race, and to see how the drivers coped. I love seeing them so aggressive at the end. Absolutely love that. When they're driving sideways, you know you've seen a good race.
Well, we told you it would be a race that would deliver action, and that is exactly what it did. That is Brazil done, and now we turn our attention onto Qatar, where we go qualifying and racing in just a few hours. Make sure you join us again. Thank you, guys, for taking us through it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Marcel, and thank you, Claire, and thank you guys for joining us. Make sure you come back and join us at 6 o'clock, and we will be in Qatar. See you then.